Hey everyone, it's Jeannie, and today I am sharing a partial shaker slimline card featuring Trinity stamps, Cozy Bear Boater, and Whale Done stamp set. Both of these stamp sets are part of Trinity Stamps' birthday release. It is a really big release, so stop by, check it out. I'll leave a link to the new release down below so you can take a look, and we're also having a blog hop. I'll leave that link down below as well, where there's a lot of inspiration for all the different products that are being released. So it's just a blog hop, no Instagram hop. For my card today, I wanted it on the slimline card and I wanted to stamp everything out. For the boat and the boater himself, I will be stamping it out and masking it. You definitely don't have to do this if you're not comfortable with masking, but since I am, it's kind of second nature to me. So I just stamped out all the images that I want out in front, which is the boater himself, the life preserver, and then the bait line, which causes me issues later on, and I'll explain why. This card did not come easy. It took me a little bit longer than I really wanted to, but I was also watching Ozark while I was crafting, so I kind of got distracted with that too. I think that threw me off my game because it's the last season and I was super into it. So for these images, you definitely don't need to do the masking. There are coordinating dies to it. It might have made my life a little bit easier, but oh well. So for all the coloring, I will be using my Copic markers and I'm doing my usual. I usually stick with 3 to 4 colors. In the case of this, I think I use 3 colors max, with the darkest color first, then I blend it out with my midtone and then color the rest of the space with the lightest shade. Nothing super fancy or anything like that. And I did want to combine these two sets because I looked at the fish size for the Cozy Bear Boater and I didn't love it because it wouldn't fill up my little C on a slimline card, and I really didn't want to stamp out more than one fish. Also with shaker cards, I don't love putting things inside the shaker because the shaker bits kind of cover it up sometimes, so I wanted a larger image and this whale is definitely large. I picked this one. So there are other images in the new release that I could have used. There's like a shark and stuff too, but I thought this was adorable because I have the whale in my finished card looking at the bait line, so I just thought it was perfect. But this card does remind me of when I went fishing, and I've only gone fishing once. I enjoyed it, sort of. It was a good experience, but it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not an outdoors person, nor do I really love the fish smell. So that's probably a deterrent, but it was really fun to learn how to do it and catch some fish. So how I went on this fishing trip was because my friend, who goes all the time, always talks so highly of it and was like, we catch so much fish, we fill up our freezer. We also get crab because it's crab season when he goes, and we picked a time where it was crab season. So me and my girlfriends decided, like, hey, we're gonna try it out. Like, there's this Groupon and we can go. It'll be really fun, relaxing. We'll end up with a ton of crab, a ton of fish, and it's just something that we hadn't done before. So we woke up super early, got out on sea before sunrise, and the problem started there already. My friend, one of them, is very sensitive to motion, and so she took a pill prior because of course she knew she was going fishing. The weather was good, but it was quite windy, so as you can imagine, the boat was very shaky. It was a smaller boat too, so that makes it even more rough on her. Immediately she was sick, and there's no coming off the boat once you get on, which is a problem. And the funny thing was, well, is it funny? I think it is. Everyone thought we were jerks, right? We were just ignoring her because she was sick and throwing up over the side of the boat. And the thing with her is that we've known her for years, so we know, like, she does not want to be touched. She does not want to be consoled. She does not want us rubbing her back. She does not want us even offering her water. She just wants to be left alone when she's sick. The funny thing was, we went with a group of people and they thought we were jerks. They just kept giving us dirty looks because we just weren't taking care of her. People that weren't our friends went over to her, kept giving her water, kept giving her pills, and it was just the funniest thing because we were just like, she doesn't want any of that. And so eventually I went over and I was like, hey, do you want us to like help or just hang out with you? And she's like, no, go away, please. And so we had to tell the other boaters that's like, please leave her alone. She just wants to be left alone. And like, it's even worse with strangers, right? Like, she can't really be rude or anything. So it was the funniest thing because we just looked like terrible people not taking care of our friend. But I mean, that's just how she is. Anyway, we didn't catch that many fish. So that was kind of a disappointment. We didn't even hit any of the limit. It was a bit disappointing because I did tell my mom to like put aside space in her freezer so I would fill it up with fish and crab, and it didn't even come close to that, but maybe next time. I think I might do it again, but probably not anytime soon. For the card itself, for the shaker part, I am stamping out and using the die cut to cut out the wave because the wave will be covering up the adhesive for my partial shaker card. So my idea is that I only want the C portion of this Slimline card to be the shaker. For my Slimline card panel, I went ahead and ink blended with Distress Oxide inks a Sunset Sky for the top portion, mainly because I went out in the sunrise and I wanted colors that reflected that. And then I will go ahead and ink blend the bottom portion also with Distress inks. I went in with 2 different colors and I just wanted to create depth within the sea. As you know, the deeper you go, it gets darker. I really have been enjoying my Distress Oxide inks recently. I haven't used them in a really long time and I forget like how creamy and easy they are to blend, and it really just inks up the entire panel so quickly. I also think my Distress inks are just drying up. I haven't replaced them and I've had them for years, so there's that. I also pulled out the layered Peninsula stencil, which is kind of like a little strip of this sea design. It's meant for more of an A2 card, but you definitely can use it for a Slimline. You just need to move it around, and because of the pattern you can't tell where the start and finish of it is, and so I just inked up the entire panel. And for the acetate shaker portion, I pulled a piece of heavyweight acetate and I am scoring it, so there's about 1/2 inch on each side, so I'll be folding it over on the card. And the acetate's so hard to see in the video, but I am just scoring the lines and using a Teflon bone folder to like really varnish those score lines down so I can wrap it around my card. Because I'm using my own piece of acetate, you just have to keep checking and making sure that the acetate is scored properly around your card. And I have multiple cards that I have created using this technique. It's nothing super special. The only thing different here is the partial portion, which is not super fancy at all. I'm just using acetate to glue it to the Slimline card panel, and that's it. But once I have the scoring done, I'll go ahead and trim off the corners because it'll make it easier to fold. I'll put double-sided adhesive on the back of the panel so I can use it to close up my acetate. And then I pulled out the double-sided adhesive. It's 1/8 inch, just it's super thin and the wave is meant to cover it. So I'll remove 2 of the release paper on the sides and then I'll leave the bottom open, and then the acetate will stick to the double-sided adhesive on the front panel, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue that wave just to cover that up. So I don't know if you caught it, but I accidentally put down my double-sided adhesive and then it was in the right position because my acetate piece was a little bit shorter than what it was. So I had to pull it up and it kind of wrecked it. But it was okay because I knew most of the boat would cover any like blemishes on my Slimline card panel anyway. And I went ahead and popped him up on foam, and I'm going to adhere him to my card panel. So the bait line was supposed to go down under the acetate, but I didn't do that, and so that's why I had to fussy cut it. But I wanted to make sure that it looked like the bait line wasn't over the water, even though it is over the acetate. So I'm using my extra pieces of waves just to kind of trick the eye and make it look like it's underneath the water. And then also just added a little bit more interest to the panel itself just to have those extra waves. But I think the stenciled pattern really helped out. So for the whale, I just put double-sided adhesive right on the back of him because I don't love putting glue on images on top of acetate because it will leave the dry marks of the glue and it's not my favorite. Once my slimline card panel is all put together, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the shaker portion. And remember, you don't want to close up your entire acetate pieces. I left the very bottom open so you can add those embellishments. And I don't put too much either because I really don't want to cover up this stenciled portion of the ocean. I also add a little bit of glitter just for a bit of sparkle. Trinity Stamps has so many embellishments. If you go on their site, you can see a ton of choices that you can pick. But I always like that extra bit of glitter just for that extra sparkle. So to finish off the card, I'm going to go ahead and stamp and die cut the sentiments. The die cuts for Trinity's sentiments are really cool because it actually cuts around the words. So you can use this idea for any partial shaker card that you may create. You just need to use double-sided adhesive and something to cover up that portion where you add the adhesive. And even if it shows, I don't even think that's a big deal. I think it's really cool that you can create a partial shaker card and kind of conform it to only a portion of your card scene. That's it for the card for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really fun one, and I hope you incorporate some partial shakers into your card making as well. I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!